The boardroom of Sterling Dynamics smelled of stale coffee and desperation. Evelyn Carter sat at the far end of the mahogany table, her hands folded neatly in her lap, watching her son Marcus pace like a caged lion. He was 38, broad-shouldered, with the same sharp jawline she'd given him, but his eyes burned with a hunger she didn't recognize. "Mom, this isn't personal," Marcus said, stopping to lean against the table. "It's business. Dad built this company on relationships, sure, but relationships don't pay dividends. OmniTech's offer is $2.8 billion. That's life-changing money." Evelyn's gaze drifted to the window overlooking Austin's glittering skyline. Sterling Dynamics wasn't just a company. It was her husband's obsession, her life's work, and the invisible empire she'd quietly constructed over 35 years. Richard Carter had been the face, the visionary engineer who founded the precision manufacturing firm in 1987. But Evelyn had been the architect of its soul. She remembered the early days when they'd operate out of their garage. While Richard designed circuit boards for aerospace clients, Evelyn would spend evenings on the phone with suppliers in Silicon Valley, Nagoya, and Guadalajara. Not discussing specs or delivery schedules, but asking about their daughters' college applications, their father's health, their dreams for expansion. "You're family to us," she'd tell them. And they believed her. Now Marcus wanted to sell that family to OmniTech, the corporate vulture that acquired innovative firms, stripped their talent, and turned quality products into commoditized junk. Evelyn had seen what OmniTech did to Carter Tech in Seattle, laid off 80% of the staff, moved production to Shenzhen, and rebranded artisanal engineering as disruptive manufacturing. "I understand you want to honor Dad's legacy," Marcus continued, mistaking her silence for agreement. "But legacy doesn't feed your grandchildren. OmniTech will keep the name, Mom. They'll make us rich." Evelyn finally spoke, her voice soft but carrying the weight of decades. "Rich isn't the same as respected, Marcus." He laughed, a sharp, dismissive sound. "Respect. This is the 21st century, Mom. Respect is what you get when you control the boardroom, not when you send Christmas cards to machine shops in Mexico." The board members shifted uncomfortably. Most were Marcus's allies, young executives he'd promoted over the past 2 years, hungry for stock options and corner offices. Only Harold Jenkins, the grizzled VP of operations who'd started as a floor supervisor under Richard, met her eyes with quiet solidarity. That evening, after the board meeting adjourned with Marcus's strategic review approved, Evelyn didn't go home to her Westlake Hills estate. She drove to the original Sterling Dynamics factory on the east side of Austin, now mostly used for R&D. The night security guard, Miguel, waved her through without a word. He'd been there 28 years. The factory floor hummed quietly, automated arms assembling precision gyroscopes for satellite systems. Evelyn walked past rows of CNC machines to a small office in the corner. Inside, dusty file cabinets lined the walls, each drawer labeled not by vendor or part number, but by family name: Nakamura family, Lopez clan, Chen partnership, Kowalski brothers. She pulled open the drawer marked Core Network and removed a leather-bound ledger, the analog database no one but she knew existed. 372 names, phone numbers, birthdays, children's names, anniversaries of significant deals. Each entry represented a relationship she'd nurtured through recessions, supply chain crises, and personal tragedies. Her phone buzzed. A text from Marcus, *Mom, be reasonable. Sign the letter of intent tomorrow. This is your last chance to be part of the future. Evelyn didn't reply. Instead, she made her first call. "Masao. It's Evelyn Carter from Sterling Dynamics." "Evelyn-san." The voice on the other end immediately warmed. Masaru Nakamura ran the most precise ball-bearing manufacturer in Japan. "How is beautiful Austin? Your son is well." "Masao, I need to ask you something important." She paused, choosing her words carefully. "There are changes coming to Sterling Dynamics. New leadership with different priorities." Silence. Then, "I see. The son wishes to modernize." "More than modernize. They plan to sell to OmniTech." Another long pause. Evelyn could picture Masaru in his Kyoto office, surrounded by centuries-old woodworking tools and precision gauges. OmniTech, he finally said. They bought Yamamoto Precision 3 years ago. Now they make our bearings in Vietnam. Quality dropped 23%. We lost 3 major aerospace contracts. I know, Evelyn said softly. Masaru, I'm telling you this as a friend, not as a client. If the deal goes through, your contracts transfer automatically. I understand. His voice hardened. Evelyn-san, my grandfather supplied Richard Carter's first prototype. We are not just suppliers. We are partners. Thank you for listening, Masaru. Thank you for the warning, Evelyn-san. You will always have Nakamura Precision. She hung up and turned to the next page. Juanita Morales in Guadalajara, mother of 5, supplier of custom aluminum extrusions. Pierre Dubois in Toulouse, widower whose family had made titanium fasteners since Napoleon's time. Lena Kowalski in Milwaukee, 3rd-generation owner of the best heat treatment facility in North America. By 2:17 a.m., she'd made 47 calls. Each conversation followed the same pattern: genuine concern, quiet outrage, solemn promises. Her invisible board, the network of family-owned suppliers representing 87% of Sterling Dynamics production capacity, was now fully informed. The next morning, Marcus arrived at the Austin headquarters with the confidence of a man who'd already spent his acquisition bonus. He strode into the executive conference room where the OmniTech delegation waited. 6 men and women in identical navy suits, their faces as expressive as the PowerPoint slides they carried. Gentlemen, ladies, Marcus began, clicking to his first slide, welcome to the future of precision manufacturing. For 23 minutes, he presented his vision. AI-optimized production lines, global supply chain consolidation, 28% EBITDA improvement within 18 months. The OmniTech team nodded politely, occasionally tapping notes into their tablets. Then Marcus reached the crown jewel: our supplier relationships, our greatest asset. We've already initiated cost optimization protocols. By Q3, we'll achieve 18% procurement savings through. His phone buzzed. He ignored it. Through strategic renegotiation and volume commitments. It buzzed again. Marcus frowned and silenced it. Our current vendor portfolio represents $1.2 billion in annual spend, with locked-in contracts that transfer seamlessly upon acquisition. A third buzz. This time, Sarah Bennett, his executive assistant, burst through the door, her normally composed face pale. Marcus, Mr. Carter, there's a problem. Not now, Sarah, he snapped. It's the suppliers. All of them. The OmniTech lead, a woman named Cassandra Wells, leaned forward. What kind of problem? Sarah swallowed hard. Sir, Nakamura Precision just terminated their master supply agreement. Dubois Titanium sent their cancellation 12 minutes ago. Morales Extrusions, Kowalski Heat Treatment, Chen Microelectronics, all of them. Every major supplier has invoked force majeure clauses citing fundamental breach of partnership principles. Marcus blinked. That's impossible. They can't, they wouldn't. His phone erupted with notifications. He grabbed it, scrolling frantically. Emails from legal departments, curt letters from CEOs, text messages from panicked procurement managers. Asterisk as of 9:14 a.m. Central Standard Time. Sigma Precision terminates all agreements with Sterling Dynamics. Asterisk. Asterisk Varga Manufacturing respectfully withdraws from partnership effective immediately. Asterisk. Asterisk Jensen Alloys confirms contract cancellation due to change in corporate values. Asterisk. By 9:47 a.m., 92% of Sterling Dynamics supply chain had evaporated. The company's ability to fulfill $800 million in aerospace and defense contracts now rested on nothing. Cassandra Wells closed her tablet with a soft click. It appears our due diligence missed some critical dependencies. Wait, Marcus stammered, sweat beading on his forehead. This is a misunderstanding. I'll fix it. Give me 48 hours. Mr. Carter, she interrupted, standing. OmniTech doesn't acquire companies with existential supply chain failures. The deal is off the table. The delegation filed out without another word. Marcus stood frozen, staring at the screen still displaying his supply chain optimization slide, a bar chart showing projected savings that now mocked him with its irrelevance. Evelyn watched from the glass-walled observation room above. Harold Jenkins stood beside her, his arms crossed. "You didn't tell them about the will, did you?" he asked quietly. Evelyn shook her head. "Not yet. Some lessons they need to learn the hard way." That afternoon, Marcus burst into Evelyn's corner office, where she sat reviewing production schedules from 1998. The last year Sterling Dynamics had used a single non-preferred supplier. "Mom." His voice cracked with panic. "What the hell did you do? You called them, didn't you? You sabotaged me." Evelyn didn't look up from her paperwork. "I made 47 phone calls last night, Marcus. I asked about their families. I thanked them for their partnership. I wished them well." "You're lying." He slammed his fist on her desk. "They didn't just wish us well. They destroyed us." Behind him, Greg Hamilton, the CFO who'd been Marcus's closest ally, hovered nervously. "Evelyn, Mrs. Carter, we're looking at a complete production halt by end of week. Boeing's already threatening to cancel their Saturn V contract." Evelyn finally set down her pen and looked at her son. His tie was askew, his shirt untucked, his face flushed with the realization that his empire had crumbled in 90 minutes. "Marcus," she said calmly, "you spent 2 years telling me this company was just assets and processes. You fired 17 veteran procurement managers because they wasted time on relationships. You replaced our annual supplier summit with automated RFP software. When exactly did you expect loyalty?" He stopped, searching for words that wouldn't come. "You insulted people who'd been our partners longer than you've been alive. You demanded 15 to 22% price concessions with 30-day deadlines. You told Pierre Dubois his titanium was overpriced European nostalgia." Marcus's face drained of color. "How did you?" "Because I listen," Evelyn said. "Because I care. Because for 35 years, I've known every name, every birthday, every family tragedy of the people who made this company possible." Greg stepped forward, clutching a folder. "Mrs. Carter, we can fix this. If you'll just sign this emergency authorization, Marcus can execute the fallback plan." Evelyn held up her hand. "Greg, you're fired. Security will escort you out." His mouth fell open. "What? You can't." "I can. And I have." She pressed the intercom. "Ms. Rodriguez, please have security meet Mr. Hamilton in the lobby." As Greg spluttered and stormed out, Marcus stared at her in disbelief. "Mom, you can't run this company. You're 67 years old. You organize charity galas, not global supply chains." Evelyn stood and walked to the credenza behind her desk. She opened a drawer and removed a slim leather portfolio, the same one Richard had given her the week before he died. "Actually, Marcus," she said, turning back to him, "I can." She placed the portfolio on the desk and opened it. The top document was simple, elegant, and devastating. Asterisk last will and testament of Richard T. Carter regarding Sterling Dynamics, ink asterisk. Marcus snatched it up. His eyes scanned the first paragraph, then widened. This says 100% ownership transferred to Evelyn M. Carter upon my death, she finished for him. Every share. Every voting right. Effective immediately upon Richard's passing 14 months ago. You knew. His voice was barely a whisper. All this time, you knew. I respected your father's wishes, Evelyn said. He wanted you to learn. He knew you saw the company as numbers on a spreadsheet. He hoped running it would teach you what it really meant. Marcus sank into a chair, the will trembling in his hands. So all of it, the board meetings, the strategy sessions, you were just observing, Evelyn completed. And preparing. She pressed another button on her intercom. Lydia, send in the first group, please. The door opened, and Evelyn's executive assistant ushered in 5 people Marcus didn't recognize. They carried briefcases and iPads, their faces serious but familiar in a way he couldn't place. "Everyone, this is Marcus Carter," Evelyn said. "Marcus, meet the real leadership team of Sterling Dynamics." The first man stepped forward. "Juan Morales. My family supplies your aluminum extrusions." "Masaru Nakamura," said the second. "Precision bearings." "Dr. Lena Kowalski," said the third. "Heat treatment processes." Each person represented a critical supplier. But they weren't suppliers, they were partners. And now they were executives. "I've offered each of them equity positions and board seats," Evelyn explained as Marcus watched in stunned silence. "They understand this company better than any Ivy League MBA because they've built it with us for decades." Masaru Nakamura bowed slightly. "Evelyn-san has been our partner since 1992. We trust her judgment completely." Marcus found his voice. "Mom, this is insane. You can't replace experienced executives with factory owners." "These factory owners," Evelyn said, "generate 94% of our revenue. They've sustained us through 3 recessions, the 2008 crash, and the chip shortage." "What have you sustained, Marcus?" He had no answer. Over the next week, Evelyn moved with surgical precision. She fired 23 executives who'd aligned with Marcus's modernization plan. She reinstated the 17 procurement managers Marcus had dismissed. She cancelled the ERP software implementation and restored the annual supplier summit, relocating it to the Driscoll Hotel with a $2.3 million budget. But her masterstroke came on Thursday. The Sterling Dynamics board convened in the main conference room. Marcus sat in the back, no longer a director but a spectator. 38 people filled the seats, current executives, reinstated managers, and the new supplier partners. Evelyn stood at the head of the table. Behind her, a screen displayed a single metric. Asterisk supply chain recovery. 100% asterisk. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began. "As you know, we faced an existential crisis 72 hours ago. Every major supplier terminated their contracts. Our stock price dropped 47%. Boeing threatened to cancel $600 million in orders." The room was silent. By 9 a.m. this morning, every supplier contract was not just restored, they were strengthened. "We secured 10-year exclusivity agreements with Nakamura Precision, Morales Extrusions, and Kowalski Thermal. Chen Microelectronics committed an additional $180 million in capital investment. And Varga Manufacturing relocated their entire U.S. operation to Austin to be closer to our campus." Applause broke out, genuine, thunderous applause. Evelyn raised her hand for quiet. This didn't happen because of contracts or legal threats. It happened because of trust. Because for 35 years, we've treated our partners as family. And family doesn't abandon each other. She clicked to the next slide. Asterisk new organizational structure asterisk. The chart showed a radical departure from traditional corporate hierarchy. Suppliers weren't in separate boxes, they were integrated into every division. Nakamura Precision co-chaired R&D, Morales Extrusions led supply chain innovation. Kowalski Thermal controlled quality assurance. "This is the Sterling Dynamics partnership model," Evelyn said. "We succeed together, or we fail separately." As the board approved the restructuring unanimously, Marcus slipped out of the room. Evelyn watched him go, her heart heavy but resolute. 2 months later, Evelyn sat in her newly renovated office. The walls displayed not abstract art, but photographs. Richard shaking hands with Juan Morales in 1994, Masaru Nakamura's daughter graduating from UT Austin on a Sterling scholarship, Lena Kowalski receiving the company's first Supplier of the Century award. Her phone rang. The caller ID read, *Marcus*. She answered. "Hello. Mom." His voice was quiet, stripped of its former arrogance. I got a job. With a startup in San Francisco. They're doing 3D printed components." Evelyn smiled softly. "That's wonderful, Marcus. I'm proud of you." A long pause. "Mom. I was wrong. About everything." "I know," she said gently. "And that's why you'll succeed now." Another pause. Can I come see you sometime? Not about the company. Just, as your son. Her eyes misted. I'd like that very much. 6 months later, Sterling Dynamics stock hit an all-time high of $187 per share. Forbes published a 4,200-word profile titled The Invisible CEO: How Evelyn Carter Saved American Manufacturing. The Harvard Business Review devoted an entire issue to the partnership model. But Evelyn's proudest moment came at the annual Supplier Summit. 700 partners filled the convention center, not as vendors, but as co-owners. When she took the stage, the room rose as one. In the front row sat Marcus. Not as an executive, but as a guest. He'd brought his wife and twin daughters. As Evelyn began her remarks, she caught his eye. He nodded, a small, genuine smile on his face. For the first time in years, she saw her son, not the heir, not the mogul, but her boy. And in that moment, she knew Richard had been right all along. The company wasn't just saved. The family was healed.